It is the middle of the night. Your cat has an entire house to choose from: a warm radiator, a windowsill touched by sunlight, or a soft chair in a quiet room where nobody would disturb them. But somehow they are still here, curled against your side, pressed behind your knees, or stretched across far more of the bed than an animal that small should possibly occupy. Why do they do this? Most people assume it is about warmth. Maybe it is a habit, or perhaps your cat simply wants more attention tonight. But scientific research into feline behavior tells a very different story. When your cat chooses to sleep beside you, they are sending one of the clearest messages they can give, and most cat owners have no idea what they are witnessing. Let us begin with warmth, because at first it sounds reasonable. Cats genuinely love heat. A cat may feel comfortable at temperatures between 30 and 38 degrees Celsius, far warmer than most humans would choose. Cats seek warmth almost as naturally as we seek shade on a hot day. But there is a problem with this explanation. If warmth were the only reason, your cat would have better options: a radiator, afternoon sunlight, freshly dried laundry, or any place that holds heat better than a restless human who moves around and throws off the blanket at 3 in the morning. If your cat only wanted warmth, they would not choose you. So why do they? Because sleep is the most vulnerable state an animal can enter. A cat is not only a hunter, a cat is also small enough to become prey. Every instinct inside them gives the same warning: when you sleep, hide. Find somewhere concealed, protected, and defensible. That is what a cautious animal is supposed to do while unconscious. But your cat walks past every hidden corner in your home and lies beside the one thing they cannot control: you. This is not simply warmth. This is trust and attachment. It is one of the deepest forms of trust an animal can offer, and we can measure it scientifically. In 2019, researchers at Oregon State University used a test similar to one psychologists use to measure attachment in human infants. A caregiver leaves the room, then returns a short time later. Researchers repeated the process with cats and their owners. The results surprised people who believed cats did not form meaningful emotional bonds with humans. Around 66% of the cats, roughly 2 out of 3, were classified as securely attached to their owners. When their owners left, the cats became unsettled. When their owners returned, they calmed down and began exploring again. In an unfamiliar place, they were using their human as a secure base. That percentage is almost identical to the rate of secure attachment seen in human infants. It is even slightly higher than the percentage found in dogs. Think about that. Cats can form a style of attachment to us that resembles the bond between a child and a parent. The image of the distant, completely independent cat is simply inaccurate for many cats. When your cat curls up beside you, they are displaying one of the most fundamental attachment behaviors there is. At the exact moment they are most defenseless, they search for the person who makes them feel safe. But this goes deeper than a laboratory experiment. This bond is written into the way cats sleep. A cat sleeps for around 12 to 16 hours every day. They spend more of their lives unconscious than awake. In the wild, every sleeping hour carries risk. Whenever a cat is asleep, a predator could find them. Cats therefore evolved to be extremely selective about where and beside whom they lower their defenses. Here is the part most people never learn. Cats are not as solitary as humans often assume. In feline colonies, cats that trust one another sleep with their bodies touching. They curl around each other and form small sleeping groups. But they do not do this with every cat. They do it with preferred companions, with those they trust, with family. When your cat leans against you, touches your legs, or presses their body into yours while sleeping, they are repeating that ancient behavior. Your cat is treating you as a member of their family. They lower their defenses during the one state in which they have almost none, because being beside you feels safer than being alone. Now let me tell you about a discovery that shows just how old this relationship really is. In 2004, archaeologists on the island of Cyprus uncovered a grave that changed what we understood about the history of cats. The grave was approximately 9,500 years old. 9,500 years. Inside was a human buried alongside seashells, polished stones, and small offerings. These objects suggested the person had been important within their community, and only 40 centimeters away, deliberately placed beside that person, was a cat. But one detail changed everything. Cats were not native to Cyprus. There were no naturally occurring wild cats on the island. That means someone placed this cat on a boat and carried it across open water to bring it there. Why would someone transport a cat all the way to Cyprus? Was it only there to hunt mice? Was it brought for some practical purpose? This happened thousands of years before ancient Egypt, before the pyramids, and even before the invention of writing. And yet, even then, a human and a cat were deliberately buried side by side. Not simply as an owner and a pest controller, but as companions. These cats were not only animals used to catch mice, they were family. Even 9,500 years ago. This relationship also did not develop in the way many people imagine. Humans did not domesticate cats in the same way we domesticated dogs. In a sense, cats domesticated themselves. When humans began farming in the Fertile Crescent, stored grain attracted mice, and those mice attracted wildcats. The calmest and boldest cats, the ones willing to live close to humans, found food and were more likely to survive. Over generations, humans unintentionally favored the cats that chose to remain near us. So when your cat settles onto your bed tonight, understand what that moment represents. It is the result of a process lasting nearly 10,000 years. A process that repeatedly favored cats that chose human companionship. When your cat chooses you, that entire history is replayed in a single moment, every night. But there is one more important thing you need to know. Your cat's sleeping habits also contain information. Cats are masters at hiding when something is wrong. It is an ancient survival instinct. In the wild, displaying weakness can make an animal a target. Cats, therefore, do not complain the way humans do. Instead, they begin to behave differently. A sudden change in where or how your cat sleeps can be one of the earliest signals worth noticing. If a cat that always slept beside you suddenly stops, or a cat that normally kept its distance suddenly begins sleeping on top of you constantly, do not dismiss it without thinking. A change like this can sometimes point to pain, stress caused by something new in the home, or, in an older cat, physical and behavioral changes related to age. It does not always mean something is wrong, but a sudden change in sleeping behavior that is completely out of character is worth discussing with your veterinarian. Because your cat cannot explain what has changed using human words. Their behavior is the only real language they have. So the next time you wake up at 3 in the morning with your cat wedged between your legs and half the bed somehow gone, remember what you are actually looking at. Your cat walked past every warm, hidden, and protected place in your home, and they chose the place where they would be most exposed, right beside you. They did not choose that place only because it was warm. They chose it because, out of every place in their world, you are the place where they feel safe enough to close their eyes. 10,000 years of evolution. An attachment bond that resembles the relationship between a child and a parent, and an instinct that tells them to hide whenever they sleep. All of it points toward one thing. To your cat, you are home. You are family. If this video changed the way you see your cat, subscribe to the channel. Here we decode what your cat is really telling you, one behavior at a time. And now, I want to hear from you. Where does your cat sleep at night? Tell us in the comments. Because there is another thing your cat does that may seem meaningless at first. That slow, relaxed blink they give you while looking into your eyes. That moment when they catch your gaze and gently close their eyelids. Most people barely notice it, but it is not random. It is a message. and the science behind it may reveal the clearest way a cat can ever say, "I love you."